My best friend has been missing for 4 years. I just started receiving some horrifying messages. There was always something strange about my best friend, Noah. I remember my teacher sat us together on our first day, and he said to me, "I like you, Peregrine. Let's be friends." I thought this would just be a normal friendship, but I never could have guessed the horrifying reality this would lead to. Over the next few years, we stayed extremely close, and as we grew up, he became extremely good-looking. I remember we were often followed around at school, and sometimes even on the weekends by a group of flighty girls who would giggle and whisper behind their hands about Noah. He became extremely popular in high school and took me along for the ride. Everyone was desperate to be his friend, but he only ever seemed to have time for me. I thought his life was perfect, but just like anyone, Noah has secrets that I didn't know about. Noah's mother was just 18 years old when she gave birth to her only son. 4 years later, she died of a substance overdose, which was speculated, but not confirmed, to be deliberate. His father had been heartbroken, but in his mind, his wife's death was Noah's fault. It became something of a hobby of his to polish off an entire bottle of whiskey a couple of times a week, and subsequently knock 7 shades of shit out of his son, just so he'd never forget his mother died because of him. Naturally, years of this kind of treatment took a mental toll on Noah, though nobody else would ever know it. On the nights that his father drank, Noah would come to my house, bashed up and bloodied, and cry in my arms until he fell asleep. Over the years, I begged him several times to tell someone, or to let me tell them, terrified of what his father would do to him if he was ever found out. Noah refused to go to any kind of authority, and swore me into silence about it as well. We were 18 years old when Noah vanished without a trace. I saw him on a Saturday night. We were at a party and sharing a joint on a bench in the host's backyard. Very casually, he told me he was going away for a bit in the morning. I assumed he meant the holiday, and had told him I hoped he had fun. He'd laughed there, and then surprised me by kissing me full on the lips. "You've been such a good friend to me, Rin," he told me. "I really do love you, mate. I'm gonna miss you." Baffled, I told him I loved him too, that missing me was silly when we'd see each other again very soon. There, he'd just given me a sad smile, checked his phone, and told me he needed to go. Watching him leave that party was the last time I or anybody else saw him. He made it home, but his father, paralytic drunk, passed out on the couch and didn't hear or see his return. When he went to check on him in the morning, he found Noah's room unusually tidy. Most of his belongings were gone, and so was he. No note, no indication of where he'd gone or with whom, just gone. The police were contacted, of course, but they were entirely unhelpful, stating that they'd put out an announcement that we were looking for him. But ultimately, at 18, Noah was an adult, and he wasn't considered vulnerable. He was well within his rights to leave home and go wherever he damn well pleased without letting anybody know, and that was it. Noah had vanished. I'm 22 now. In the 4 years that have passed since Noah's disappearance, I've done an awful lot of healing. Immediately after he vanished, I called and texted him several times a day, left voicemails until his answering machine was full, sent message after message begging him to let me know he was okay. His phone was always switched on, but he never answered it. I took to trawling local news, searching for reports of missing people and later, corpses that had been found, and nothing. I made many assumptions as to what happened to him, but I never could have guessed the horrifying reality that I would soon find out. Eventually, I stopped trying. Panic turned to anger. Maybe the police were right. Maybe he had taken the fuck off and not let anybody know, and that was really shitty and unfair of him to do. I understood wanting to get out of his dad's place, wanting to lay low so his old man wouldn't find him, but where was the need in torturing me like this? One day, approximately 2.5 years after he vanished, I eventually decided that it was no longer worth putting myself through that kind of mental strain. If Noah wanted to ditch me, then frick him. Shows how much he really cares. I still miss him. Of course I do. When I'm alone in my flat at night, having a beer or a joint and watching one of our old favorite movies, I sometimes like to imagine that he's there beside me, cracking the same dumb jokes that he always used to. That is, until 2 weeks ago, when I started getting some weird text messages. The first came around midnight on the Saturday. It was from an unknown number and contained only the bird emoji, 4 times over. At first I was confused, but wrote it off as some wrong number message. Didn't seem at all malicious or too weird. An hour or so later, however, I got another message that made my blood run cold. "Come on, Tweety Bird, don't tell me you've forgotten our in-jokes already." Noah, ever pleased by my aviary first name, always used to jokingly call me Tweety Bird when we were kids, and it had stuck as an affectionate nickname ever since. A string of bird emoji had become his way of getting my attention via text. Shaken, I replied very quickly saying, "I don't know who the hell this is, but that's not effing funny." I sat there for a few minutes staring at my phone screen until I saw another notification which made my heart drop. The text read, "What do you mean you don't know who it is? It's Silas, you tosspot. I'm sorry for vanishing. I can explain everything." This was sick. Someone was playing some sort of disgusting prank on me. I furiously replied, saying I was going to block the number, but was immediately met with another response. This time it wasn't a text. It was a voice note. A voice that I'd recognize from anywhere. "Now do you believe it's me?" It was Noah. I immediately tried to call the number, but it was rejected after 2 rings, and I received a new text. "Can't answer calls RN. I can explain everything, but not over text. Need to meet you face to face. Weird stuff happening past 4 years. We'll meet you at Old Library on 31st at 11 p.m. I told him I'd be there no matter what. I'm really scared and confused about all of this. I know I said I'd go to the meeting, but I honestly don't know if I should. The voice message was definitely Noah, and the text mannerisms match his, but something feels very wrong about all of this.